So today we're going to go over ordered pairs and the coordinate graph, or Cartesian plane. The Cartesian plane was a brainchild of the French mathematician René Descartes, trying to combine algebra and geometry. You may know it as just the XY plane. To explain Descartes' method, first think of using a map. If you're trying to find a specific location, you use reference points around the outside of the map and trace down and across to find your location. It's like using longitude and latitude. So again, you find a location on the location across and up and down. And let's say you pick somewhere right here and right there. You would write your line across in each direction. Let's try that again. And pretty much see where they cross, and that location would represent what's to the left and below on the edges to find your specific location. So that's the general idea. So cartography, the science of map making, is an application of graphing on a coordinate plane. Cartographers map a region of the surface of the Earth onto a part of a plane. You learn about basic counting number lines back in elementary school. Later on, you were introduced to the zero and negatives, which completed the entire number line. Descartes took a second number line and standing it on ends, so a horizontal, and then flipping it and making it vertical, crossed the lines at 0 to form the grid-like pattern. So something like this image is showing you. The x-axis, flipped it over, crossed them at 0, which made the grid-like pattern. The number lines, when drawn like this, are called axes. The horizontal line is called the x-axis, and the vertical line is called the y-axis. I'm sure all of this sounds familiar. So each coordinate plane is divided into quadrants. Using the ordered pairs, or the x-y axis, you can find points on a plane. So when I use the word quadrants, the first few letters in the word quadrants, quad, that represents the number 4. On your xy plane, there are 4 spots around it. So 1 region, 2 regions, 3 regions, 4 regions. And we label these as our 4 quadrants. So the names of these quadrants are quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, quadrant number 4. So the upper right-hand corner is called quadrant 1. Then we just go around counterclockwise and label the rest of the quadrants, 2, 3, and 4. Notice we use Roman numerals. To plot an ordered pair, and again, when we say the word ordered pair, it's a pair of numbers, meaning 2, and they have a specific order to them. We always begin at the origin, the point 0, 0. So if we look at this xy plane on the right side, my origin is right here where the 2 axes cross. The first coordinate in a ordered pair tells us how many units to move left or right. The second coordinate tells us how much to move up and down. So if we look at the ordered pair on the lower corner, this one right here, 1 tells us to move right because it's positive. 3 tells us to move negative. 3 tells us to move down because it's negative. I'm sure all of this sounds very familiar. So one more time, the x-coordinate moves right or left based on positive or negative. Y-coordinate moves up or down based on positive or negative. Again, the sign specifically indicates which direction to move. So again, here we have a few examples on the left side. So let's go ahead and I'll start filling out our notes. So the coordinate plane is a plane formed by the intersection of a horizontal number line called the x-axis and a vertical line called the y-axis. Ordered pairs, so those are your points. It's a pair of numbers used to locate a point on the coordinate plane. Again, made up of an x value and a y value. X-axis is the horizontal axis. The y-axis is the vertical axis. The x-coordinate, so the x value of an ordered pair, is the first number in the ordered pair. It tells you the unit to move left or right. Same thing for the y coordinate. It's the second number this time in the ordered pair. It tells you how much to move up or down from the origin. And of course, the last word is the origin. It's a point. This is the first point we focus on when we're graphing, where the x and y axis intersect on the coordinate plane, which has the coordinates 0, 0. Positive, you need more time. I'll go on. So again, this is on the right side of your notes. So we're going to label all the parts. So we're going to start labeling the quadrants, just so you have it on your notes for reference. Quadrant number 1, upper right-hand corner, then we move around in a circular order to the left. Quadrant 2, you can put Q1, Q2 instead of writing the word quad. Quadrant 3, quadrant 4, using Roman numerals. We're going to go ahead and graph our points now after we label our x and y axis. Horizontal axis is the x-axis. Vertical axis is the y-axis. If it helps to label positives and negatives, feel free to do that. So again, putting that this is positive, this is negative. Hold on, let me exit out of here. This is not what I wanted to put. Negative, and up here we have a positive. Let's see, let's move this. Sorry, there's something kind of went weird on my screen. Give me 1 second while I fix it. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. So label this positive, this one negative, this one positive, this one negative. Now we're going to move on to the next thing where we're going to go ahead and graph all the points. So let me change the color on this. First point is 5, 7. So this first point that we have here is 2 positive. So the first number tells me to move in the x direction 5 and 7 going up. So let's go ahead and graph that first point. Oh, I forgot the origin. So let's actually go ahead and graph the origin real quick and label it. So at 0, 0, we have our origin. And then now let's go ahead and graph all the points. Start with point A, 5, 7. So we have a positive and a positive. So that 5 tells me to go right 5 and up 7. Pause the video if you need more time. Second point is negative 2, 3, which means go to the left and up. Third point, 4, negative 5 means 4 positive, which means go to the right. 5 negative goes down. D tells negative 6, the negative 3, positive 6. Negative 3 is to the left, 6 go up. E is negative 8 and 0, which means negative left, 0 stay on the axis. So be very careful with points like E and F. 8 is in the position of, negative 8 is in the position of the x-axis, so you only move sideways. Last one, F, 0 in the x direction, 6 in the y direction. So we're just going to go up 6 for this last point. Notice I'm labeling each point as I go through it. So somewhere on your paper, make sure you write down the following. Just write down an X and a Y. And make sure you label just a quick little picture where the X direction goes sideways. Let me try that again, it's very sloppy. And right is positive, left is negative. Above the Y, do a line going up and down, positive and negative. Just as a quick reminder of which directions the X and the Y coordinates tells us to go. Let's move on. So that's pretty much it. You can go ahead and start working on the next page on the independent practice.